International. Tony Zinakali is my name. Joyce, Jakarta, Jemima, and Prudence are right here with me. How are you doing?
Good morning.
Yeah, I try to be as official as possible because we're talking about education. I don't want to look like someone that's never entered a classroom in his life. So we're talking, is it certificate or sabificate? So in Nigeria here, we have a term, like if you know it, we say you sabi. You sabi, you know it, you know how to do it. So is it certificate or sabificate? So what are we looking at? Sabificate is like the things that you learn from, like it doesn't matter whether it's from school or on the street, but you know how to do stuff. But you see, certificate limits you to learning what you were taught or knowing what you were taught. And that's what we're discussing on today's life. Today's life has been amazing for everyone, the people that are on set and the people that are watching, because the responses are just amazing. How people explain what they have learned, how they have grown from watching the show, and how the fan base is just enlarging every now and then. And as God will have it, we have a pastor in our midst. You've stopped being a pastor. Huh?
Once a pastor, always a pastor.
So we have a pastor in our midst. But today she doesn't have lipstick. And then we have a nurse. You look like a nurse. We have a nurse in our midst. And then we have a caterer in our midst. Some caterers are making billions of US dollars.
No, it's not about the money, but that's not my calling.
Okay. That means you don't know how to cook.
In public like that.
No, you don't. You know how to cook.
I can cook now.
You should ask your mom. You should not. You that your life is in equative. You just go home and eat and sleep. Where do you? If you are the one that is cooking at home, everybody would have died in your house.
Somebody told me that you don't used to cook. I say if they wait for me to come back and cook, they will not eat food.
But they should. They should enjoy you Saturdays and Sundays.
Yes, they do.
You hardly work Saturdays. You don't work Sundays, but you hardly work Saturdays. You once in a while you do. Certificate, sabificate. Which one is on top?
I hate being on the spot, but I think it's a sabificate.
Sabificate.
Do you have a certificate?
Yes.
Do you have a certificate?
I do.
You have a certificate. You are lying in church. So why did you get certificate?
It's from
why did you get certificate? The reason why I got it. Start your statement with the reason why I got it.
The reason why I got the certificate
is because
so that I can sabificate. So the certificate helped me to sabificate.
In other words, we're talking about one thing on the show.
So you see, I didn't just acquire the knowledge, but I put it to action, which made it certificate.
Why did you get a certificate?
I needed to support the certificate.
Why did you get it?
Okay. Okay. I went to get the certificate because I want to do something for me, and if I want to do something for me, it means sabificate.
We just have a crazy system in this part of the world that if you don't show that certificate, no matter your sabificate, everybody tends to look down on your knowledge, not caring about your abilities and all of that. But should it matter if you have just one without the other?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. If I think it's a problem if you have certificate and you cannot, like you can't boast of sabificate.
You cannot sabify it.
Yes. So is a problem. If
you are not sabified.
Yes. So, but you see, if you have just sabificate, you can still stand out. Because like we live in a world where people are concerned about what you can do. No wonder now when you go for an interview, they tell you.
Nobody's bothered about what you studied.
See, they hardly even read your CV. Like, they hardly go through it. It's just like a requirement. Just bring it so that we can file.
Because I watched something online. Somebody came. I think they are comedians, but they speak very. They are not Nigerians. From their accent, you could tell. They speak very serious things of life, but in a joking manner. So they use the joke to get you to watch. The very serious set like this. So the guy came and he was looking for a job. So he said he's the best tech guy and all that. So they said, why do you think we should employ you? Before they asked him, they asked him the amount that he should be paid. And then the guy said $5,000 a week. And then they said, 5,000. They said, he now said yes. Then they now asked him a question. So he brought us his phone and he was Googling it.
What?
So they said, no, you can't be Googling our answers. He said, that's where everybody find their answers. He said, I'm an IT person. So where else do you expect me to get the answers? He said, it's from IT. He said, Google is IT. Everything is IT. So I'm going to get the answer for you. So if you have a problem, I will Google the answer. But it's me that will put the solution from where I got it. I'm the one that will operate it. It was so funny, but it made a lot of sense. That's why I was laughing when you said it's difficult for people, yes, to rely. Education is important. We've been hammering on that because it brings out the rudiments of behavioral patterns. It makes you well behaved. There are people that went to school, they come back and they look like bus conductors in their attitudes, their character, everyday character. But there are people who have never been to four walls of the four walls of education, but you see them well mannered, behaving very well, and when they speak to you, be like, were you in Harvard? I didn't go anywhere. I'm just self-taught. But you see that Sabificate, it is what authenticates the knowledge you have, regardless of where you got it from. I think that is simply put, that is how we should be able to define what Sabificate. Sabificate is being able to be certified without necessarily seeing University of so state or Federal University of on top of that certificate. It's just blank. There is no place where you learnt it, but you know how to do it.
The results that you put
the
forward.
results, exactly. The results, exactly. So there are people watching the show right now. They are wondering, so are these guys saying I should tear down my certificate or what should I do? So if people are asking such questions, what should their answers be?
You know, earlier on I was talking about knowledge. Certificate, absolutely good. But of what importance is your certificate? I think that's the question. If you can answer wherever you are, then to some extent that question in your mind is being answered. But you see, knowledge or education generally is to equip us with knowledge, information, something you do not know before. Now you have acquired it. Now what's the essence of acquiring it? Is it just to keep it or to put it to action? That is where the certificates come. So you see, there are people that have acquired the knowledge, but it's just lying there, dormant. And no wonder 5 years after your graduation, you're still saying no job, no job. Why? Because you've not put action in any way. You know, now it's not just about looking for an employer. The knowledge that you have acquired in school, like what have you been able to do with it? You shouldn't boast that for 10 years after graduation, there's no job. I've not been able to do anything. I've been staying at home. Then there's no proof that you actually went to school. Because if you went to school and you acquired knowledge, then let the world see it being put to action. Like the world, there are a lot of problems, there are a lot of challenges. What people are looking out for is solution. And that's why earlier on I said that employers now, when you go for interview, they don't even take you serious when you say any vacant position, because it means that you are not specialized in anything. So I remember there was a time, there was an opening in Equa Television, and then I was compiling the application.
80% of the application.
So some people were saying any vacant.
To fit them
yes, and you said we should remove all of that. Why? Because it means
you have to be specific.
Yes, it means that
have you met people who say, what did you ask them what they study? They say mass communication. You ask them what aspect. They say Well, it's just communication. That's
You
what they
get
are.
confused.
They are told that in school.
Mm.
They tell them that as a mass communication student,
Mm.
you can fit in. You are a communicator.
Mm.
No. There are people that want to be in broadcast engineering.
Mhm.
They are also
Mm.
mass communicators, right? They are also communicators. There are people who want to write scripts.
Mhm.
There are people who want to be strictly on photography, like
True.
photojournalism.
Yes.
Yes.
There are people who want to write articles.
Mhm.
There are people who want to be seen on air,
Mhm.
presenting. There are people who want to edit clips. There are people. So you can't tell me.
Marketing.
Yeah, marketing. Yes,
PR.
you can't tell me that you just want to be. You want to study mass communication so that you work in a radio station. What do you want to do in the radio station when you get there? That is why some people are sent. If you go to a radio station, they, please go and buy me Zobo. You go and buy and come back because you are not specific. So they keep you there in case there is anything. They just say, okay, you go and try it. Okay, you are good at that. Okay. Don't push her to the front too, so that you know. But when you come and say, I am a newscaster, I major in presentation, and the presentation is news presentation, not soft sales like this, not but news presentation. So you have to be specific. That's why we have electrical engineers, we have mechanical engineers. They are all engineers. We have building engineers. They don't have any knowledge about wires, but they are also engineers. So you have to be specific. You see, when people came and wrote that any opening we have, how do you want us to think of you when we don't know who you are?
And there's no position that says any opening.
We were specific.
Yes.
We said editors, presenters. We were specific. We had a lot of these applications. If we open today, you see a lot, but people are not specific. So when you employ people like that, when they come, you already, from what they have said, you already know what to expect. And when they come, they are nothing short of your expectation.
Anything is possible.
Anything is possible. Anything is possible.
You can't even expect something good from that kind of person. And you see what the major issue is that we have over time grown in an education system that works this way. However it is, whatever it takes, how much it takes, and when I say how much, I mean finance. We just want to get the certificate. People don't even bother about studying or learning. You find someone going to school and telling you, oh, just relax. At the end of the day, even if it's third class, that will come out with, will finish the school. Some people go to school with that kind of attitude. You find other people going to school, let's just go there so that at the end of the day we'll have a result. There's no, so that somebody will not just come and say, I'm not educated, but this person is not really going there to learn. So at the end of the day, when this person comes out and is being embraced into the society, you find that they give you a very vague output, because what is in there is not of substance. There's no substance there. So that's where we have an issue already, because that's how our education system is designed. It's just going to school is all about you getting the certificate so that people will see and say, this person went to school. That's all. There's no impact that you're giving.
I've had people, and I've said this several times on today's life, when a parent or when parents call me, because there are times that the father and the mother want to see me, and then I go, and then they say, we have this child, he's brilliant, or he did mass communication. That's not what I'm looking for. Parents meet me, my son, my daughter, I said, that's not what we are looking for. I'm looking for the person that is able to go to school and stay in that school for 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, as the case may be, because there are carryovers and strikes and all that, as the case may be. And then you graduated, and then you served, and you even have a girlfriend, but you cannot look for a job for yourself. No, I won't look for a job for my children. And if they are watching, they should hear it. I won't. I might, if they know that I'm connected, they should use my connection. But I will not call anybody and say, my son is at home. Oh, do you have anything for him? No. I will tell my son to call this friend of mine. You cannot, your parents should not be pushy on your behalf. You will just come and sit down at work. This Equa TV is not like I want to be here, but the GM is my father's friend. Do you understand? So a lot of people, I tell parents, and I even put it out here deliberately. How can you have a child that you sponsored from birth? And people graduate the university mostly after 20s. And then for 20 years, that person is not thinking of a job for himself, how to get a job for himself. That means the person is not thinking, I should get married. He's not thinking I should have kids. He's not thinking I should rent a house. He's not thinking I should build a house. He's not thinking I should own a car. Because if your parents are still thinking on your behalf at that level, something is wrong with your future. Not where you are, your future. Because your parents have to think. Your parents will be the ones to say, up to now, no girlfriend. And then that's when you start hearing my parents are pressurizing me. Now, nowhere, baby. And then you end up with anything. My parents are pressurizing me. They say, see guys in the area now, go and fall in love with one. How? I'm a lady, they are supposed to come. It's because of the position. If the Bible is saying that he that finds a wife, that means the lady must be put herself in the position to be found. He said, he that finds a wife. If they bury you inside well, how can they find you? They have borehole in their house. They just open and they don't go out to fetch water and you are inside well. You have to put yourself in the position to be found.
You know, sadly, that's the reality of our country today. Like, all the developed nations we talk about when it comes to solutions, the emphasis is on Sabificate, like results, skills. I think that's the summary of Sabificate. Like, what skill do you have? That education you have acquired, what skill have you acquired? Someone was asking me, you studied mass communication. So beyond the certificate that carried Bachelor's of Arts in Mass Communication, like, what's your skill? Like, what skill do you have in
the person does not know you, but
he doesn't. Okay. So he was asking that question. So you see, beyond that Bachelor of Science in Economics, what solution can you bring in with this reality of our dwindling economy?
You know, with what you are saying, with what you are saying, and I have to give it up to every Equa television staff. As the employer, I know everybody's resume is different. What people came with and what they are doing now, and I have to give it to everyone. Whether you studied by the side, or you studied at the middle, or you studied by the other side, or you have knowledge, or you have a diploma, or you have degree, or you have masters, or you have PhD, whatever it is you have. I have seen people disregarding what school said to do what's needed now. I will not stop saying it. School is just nothing but memorization of information. Your grandparents were taught 1 + 1 is 2. 2 + 2 is 4. If X is this, what is this? Find the value of X, or where is X, or X. All of these things. They still do that. I don't know if someone has eventually found that X.
I saw it.
But even if you find it, they're still looking for it. You know, people have disregarded what lecturers said because people that have sense, because they are out now and they have seen what reality is, and they are working. Some people know that if I rely on that knowledge, it passes by every single second. The world is placing a demand. And the people that are meeting these demands are people who have said, hey, thank you, school, but I want to know what the world is saying. Who will build 4 walls around the world? There's nobody. So everybody must wake up to the realization of what is obtainable in the present day of your area of specialty. If you are a medical doctor, people don't cut people through now to do surgery. You know, they have ways of doing it. But here, we're still buying knife. They finish kudinka, and then the person goes, and then they forget. There was one time they forgot a hammer and axe inside somebody's this thing. They will always forget bucket that they wash persons. They will forget the bucket inside the person's tummy. So the person will be there. They'll be like, something is paining. I think it's a bucket. Where is that bucket that we wash that blood? Is there? Then they open it and remove the bucket. They have forgotten drum one time. Drum like this inside somebody's brain.
This hyperbole.
Drum. Because the blood was coming out too. So they just brought drum to the theater. They were pouring water. So they just carried a drum like this and poured the water and he washed the blood. So they just the drum fell inside.
What's the name of the continent it happened?
I'm wondering which kind of.
No, I understand it's just hyperbole.
How big the person is.
How can this be hype? It's not hyperbole. It's reality. I'm telling you.
See, honestly, education is good. Like, it gives you confidence. You have knowledge. You have information about something. You stand out. Like, as important as it is to get the certificate, you know, we can't take it away. We live in a system where the value is being placed on the paper, and no wonder when advertisement for certain position is made, when you see the requirement, you'll be like, hey, it's not about what you can do until they employ you and see that there's no result. Then people start writing and saying, oh, this person doesn't have capacity, this person that, and that's when they start thinking of replacing you. No wonder we have a lot of ministries, we have a lot of parastatals that you see, like on paper when you see the intention, but then no result.
You can work on.
We have a lot of agents. Sometimes when you look at some of these government parastatals, we're expecting to see a lot of things coming out, but it's almost looking dead.
The reason why government create a lot of things is that people give them the ideas. Government don't come up with ideas. People give them the ideas, and they don't call the people, because if you are bringing me an idea, I'm not looking at how brilliant that idea is. I'm looking at modalities of achieving the realities within. If I'm not able to achieve these realities, the idea is as good as dead on arrival. Someone is telling you that there is a way that your state can make 10 billion monthly. All you need to do is put 250 million. 3 commissioners put together. If this one does this one does this in these 3 local government, you get the money. Before you know it, government is looking for 250 million. Bam! They put it. Maybe 50 million belongs to the person that brought the idea. He collects his 50 million and he leaves. But he has told you what to do. So government is thinking, we don't need this person anymore. And he's the one with the Sabificate.
Sabificate, I was going to say that.
And then we don't need him anymore. We have professors that can do this. We have this. Professors don't take their cars to professors that are professors in mechanical engineering. They take their cars to people who have certificate in mechanical engineering. You see? So if you are looking at development, there's no government that would develop if government does not have people with knowledge they can rely upon to actualize every course of action that government. Because see, go and see the people that government employ, or the people that are regularly employed. Politicians. Some of these politicians are not as brainy as toddlers. Yes, they are toddlers that are brainy. I'm telling you, before you say one, they have said 10. These appointments come as a result of when I was contesting. Prudence father gave me 10 million. And the man is a big man. He can't be anything in my government. So do you have anybody? Yes. Oh, they just send you someone and you say, do you know this man gave me 10 million? Please put her in the office of the SSG. What is she doing there? I don't care. Let her be on salary. Joyce gave me 50 million. And then I'll be like, you are my SSG. You gave me 3 local governments. I'm the chief of staff. Is he capacitated? Who cares? he was capacitated in giving me 3 local governments. And then people with the ideas are disregarded. How can we move forward?
And I think it starts from the school setting.
It does.
People go to school just to they don't go for knowledge. They go for
To pass exams.
Let me ask a shocking question. Do you know the number of people that are looking for work in Nigeria? Ballpark figure, just
About 40%.
about 40%. Have you ever heard that a governor's son in this country invented a vaccine that the whole of Africa is using, or he invented a vehicle, or he invented an educational system, or he invented a small airplane, or he invented, have you ever heard? Do you know that they are the ones that school the most?
yes.
They most of them go to the choicest schools in the world. After the graduation, nothing is heard about them. If they try, they want to be senator or member House of Rep. But what solution have they proffered in this country? It's not about certificate. Clearly, that's just clear cut in the truth.
It's not about they just go to acquire the certificate and
so that they will say, my son is in Harvard. No, he's studying medicine. We have not seen the biggest hospital in Nigeria built by the son of any former governor or any sitting governor or any aspiring or anything. No. Yet they have children. Guess what? Their children are into serious addiction. Their children are in and out of jail abroad. It's just that you don't know. One time I was working with someone, and then his son was always under the influence of one or two things. Then one day we were just coming out, and then the boy was coming. The father was in a hurry to enter his car so that the boy will not. And then someone whispered, he said, you people are not treating the state well. How do you intend your children? God will use your children to deal with you back. That's somebody that holds a very big position in that government. He said that. And it made a lot of sense. Because he's cursed that you are a governor. You have spent the resources of the state training your children. Because your children are the responsibility of the state once you become the governor. You train your children. Your children cannot come back in the state
And give back.
and even heard something. Let's know that education, that money that we spent is not wasted. Come and even give your son commissioner of education. Since he went to study education in a different country, he has this kind of result, that kind of big result that they used to call. And then they give him awards and all of that for graduating as best this and best that. Do we enjoy the dividends of these certificates in this country? No, we don't. I can't remember. I know of a governor who told his son, he served in CBN. He said, go and work there. He said, no, he cannot work. I'm sure that boy is looking for work now in CBN. He can't get it. So people that are watching the show must understand that the Bible says in the book of Ecclesiastes, I can't remember precisely where it says, enjoy prosperity whenever you can. But when hard time strikes, realize that God gives one as well as the other. So you see, these riches, especially when not properly used, is like a tree, is like a bird that comes to this tree, build its nest on the tree. 6 months later, it decides that I'm leaving this tree. The work of this tree is over for me. I'm looking for a tree with fresher leaves, bigger this. I want to go and stay there. And then it will build its. That's how riches are. Especially if God is not involved. That's why you have so many ex-rich men who are relying on qualifications, certificates, and awards that they have drawn to themselves just by being rich.
sadly, our system places value on the paper, and no wonder you see everybody just trying to go all out to get it. Because, like, if you don't, the value on Sabificate is not really, unless they need you. That's when they think of that. But first, they are looking at the certificate. So everybody wants to just get it by all means. We have people buying it today. There are people that don't even, like, they've not gone to the four walls of the high institution, but they have the certificate. How?
Beyond what
they bought it.
Beyond what you can imagine.
Yes. Like a lot of people just go, don't worry, why you are studying, pay this person and just get it. Like, we've had stories of how that even, it's a requirement that at the end of your years in the institution, you write projects. Like, people just replicate things that others have
they
done.
They even pay lecturers to write for them. They write brilliant projects.
So if we have all of those projects, because they are like problems you identified and then you worked on and there are solutions, why are we still going through all this poverty, dwindling economic inflation, all of this? Because all of those projects that we have written should have addressed the challenges in mass communication, in economics, in all the areas.
Even the economy of the nation.
You get, and generally the nation wouldn't have been where we are. But you see, because the emphasis is on the certificate, so people just do all they can, and because the system too does not really take care of even the teachers, so they are just prone to, oh, sir, I have this money, can you help me? Bring it. And they give you, go and photocopy, bring and submit.
I was traveling, Joyce,
even
recently.
bargain
I was traveling and someone called me. He said that this is just between me and him. I said, okay. He now said, there's a certificate I have. He now said that I should just tell him the truth, that how much was it? That they want to buy it for so person. So I said, are you serious? He said, yes. I said, I took classes online. He said, how long? I said, 1 year, 6 months. He said, it's not true. That how did I create time? I said, I can forward all the, because when you take classes, you have the records, you have all of that. I said, I can forward it to you. He said that he's not sure, that I should just tell him that whatever it is, that is them that want to buy it for that man. So I said, oh, I'll forward you the link, number one. Then you see the criteria. Then you show the people all the money that all of you can have in your bank account, and then see if it can buy you that. And I did, and he saw how strict. He called me back to say, these people will not even listen to me. He said he has spent over 10,000 because he was calling them. Their phone number is on the, he was calling them. So imagine using Nigerian money to call abroad. He was calling them. The woman told him, she said, no, you have to take classes real time, and you have to take your examination real time, and you have to, there was an examination I wrote. I needed a second phone. Yes, that's what they did to me. I needed a second phone that was taking a video of me real time while I was doing the examination. 30 minutes. I think it was 40 questions, 30 minutes. 42 questions. Yes, 30 minutes. And then the other phone was busy recording. That was like how they were monitoring that I was not browsing the answers. I was not doing. And then there was no system. After I got the questions, my system was off and I was filling everything up. And I submitted on scan everything they were watching. So I told him, I said, that one, you can't get it. Because we are used to. And I also said it here that a friend of ours that we were always with, he never mentioned. He invited us for his graduation. I said, from what? He said, they are a PhD. I said, PhD? He said, yes. Some of us went. We were ashamed. He got it, but we knew that this one, even that degree that they used to, diploma is let my people go. But who cares? Uncle has PhD. Who cares? So he's CV now. If he's giving you see that one on top. So it's our system. And the people that are into it, when people don't come to patronize them, they feel like, we are going out of business. They do it a lot. In Nigeria, it works very well. If you can have the money, they will ask you, what do you want? Don't you want why are you looking for masters? We can give you PhD. We can even give you all, backdate everything.
Why is it that today we have institutions that when you bring certificates, it's from some particular institution, like you're not taking serious? Because over time, history have shown that people go there and they just buy certificates.
That's their business.
That's why people forget drum after surgery inside the body. Big drum.
But you know, I think that the essence of education, like I said earlier, is not just to acquire the knowledge, but to put it to action. It should translate into results.
But our system is showing that this is what is required. Bring the paper. Once we see it, we will agree. Then you can be given any position.
So it's like this, that we have failed to understand what exactly education is. There's this, I don't remember which philosopher said this. He said the result of learning, I mean the evidence of learning is that we see results. So if there's no results, that means no learning has taken place. But you go to our institutions these days and you find that even if the person decides, okay, I'm going to go through school, I'm going to go to classes, I'm still going to go to exam hall, you find that the person would tell you, would carry a piece of paper or something else to go into the exam hall. In fact, it has grown to the level that we no longer carry a piece of paper. You just carry your phone and enter exam hall, and you're good to go. I attended a university that, because of things like this, they said no cell phones. So you enter the school, you're basically just.
There was no
smartphones. Yes, no smartphones, but that was because they wanted you to really learn and not just I don't know how to call it, and not just go through school, but like learn, so that you would know when you come out, you're not just oblivious, you're not just not aware of what is going on, but you have an idea, even if it is not full.
When
you have
we were
an idea,
doing,
so you can approach it.
When
right.
we were doing employment in Equa TV, we had over 1,000 people we employed. We were doing general aptitude tests. Some people didn't know the name of Equa president. They didn't even know who the Equa president was. And some people were writing names of past presidents in Nigeria, graduates. We still are, yes, as the present president of Nigeria. They wrote it. I think 2 or 3 people did that. They wrote a different name. We said there was a question that was very obvious that it was simple but tricky. Like, people failed it a lot. Okay, general aptitude test in a setting like this, we're just asking current affairs, basically. But people didn't know. Like, what's the capital of this? What's the capital of this? Some people did not know. How is the structure of Equa? Some people don't know. How's the structure of Nigeria? Some people don't know. List 5 ministers. People were failing it.
But do you know if emphasis was on the
but Joyce, people have like NYC certificates with them.
I think my dad shared an experience of someone coming to serve in their office, and he was asked to write a report. Say, "Oh God, me, I cannot write this thing. No, it's maths that I can do very well, but I cannot write a report like based on the transaction. That I just write a report." And he kept turning papers. He called his name. Write this thing now. They need to. He said, "Oh God, he is maths that he can do very well. He cannot, but he's somebody that is serving." Prudence was talking about the fact that they were not allowed to use cell phones, like phones with internet, Android, and smartphones. Think about it. If the emphasis is on what you can do, we won't even be talking about, oh, don't come with this phone, don't come with that phone. Because at the end of the day, I know that I'm going to be assessed based on what I can do. So once I'm in school, my concentration, the focus will be on learning. Even if the system does not provide, you see, that's another sad reality. The system does not even provide practical ways for you to sabi. Yes, because imagine that you're doing audio production and all you have is just descriptions on paper, on PDF. Like, you don't even have a studio that you see the equipment, that you practice how these things are done. It's when you come out to the field when you want to practice what you have studied, when you want to specialize in a particular field, and you're asked, oh, what type of microphone is this? And you don't know.
And you know, Joyce, what you just said, and even if you find that there's an audio studio or if there is a television studio in the organization, you'd find things like just an analog, so there's no update. Nobody is updating anything. It's like they just let the education system to run on its own, and everybody just folds his arms.
Have you had an experience in school where you asked a question and you're told that would be an assignment for you?
Yes. A lot of people go to school because they feel let people not say I didn't go to school, so that nobody will look down on me. When you find someone that has that kind of a mindset, if he goes to school, he won't do anything, because when he goes, he wants to wear the latest clothes, he wants to have friends, he wants to do this. When people are in the lecture hall, he's doing something else. Why? Because he doesn't want people to look down on him because he didn't go to school. These are the kind of people that they will give them any course and they will take it, even if it's not what they want. They will take it. Yes, let it be known that I went to school also. And then when they go to write exams, they don't even read. People are reading, they are sleeping. People are doing this, they are doing something else. And at the end of the day, nothing to show forth for it. While I was in school, there were certain people that we thought they left the school. We were in the same class, we started together, but we thought they left. But when we come to write exams, we see them. I'll be wondering what happened. One of my particular classmates, they dropped her out, but she kept collecting fees from her parents, house rent, fees and everything. When we were graduating, we that really went to the school, like we couldn't even afford a lot of things to graduate with, but she did jotters, she did calendars, she did exactly.
Let me tell you something.
Like she left us
and
years
she was informed of something you guys did not know. Don't be surprised that girl has a result that you don't have. You will be surprised.
So shocked when we saw
Joyce,
her.
there are people that never walked into the classroom, but they have results. You know? Okay.
She had the ashwebi and everything.
She will have now. She will
Coolers
have.
of food.
She will have. She will
Not
have.
see village people inside bus coming.
She has plugs. She has plugs you don't have.
You see,
Do you understand? She has plugs you don't have. There are lecturers that will tell her, you don't worry.
Yes.
These fees, just keep bringing the fees. Keep paying this. Just go, stay. You don't have to attend lectures. Just go and be doing your thing. We will give you results if you have this amount. And they will give her a result that will be honored everywhere.
True.
Because everybody that should sign or stamp anything will stamp and sign, and there will be for the person.
So it goes a long way to show that people are losing interest.
Where is that girl from?
I have no idea.
I know. Is she fair? She likes sitting behind TV.
I wouldn't know.
She's fair.
I don't know.
Okay.
You know,
So really, it shows how people don't even want to do anything.
Yeah.
And then I also noticed that when you go to work and you don't have the certificate and you sabi the thing very well, people use you. They use you more. They know that you can do it.
This
Like
woman is
we all know that you can do it, but because you don't have the certificate to support what you know how to do, they exploit. They do so much and they pay you very little compared to that person
Jemima,
that has
is
the
the
certificate
people-
and cannot
people with
defend
the
it.
certificate without certificate, mostly you find out that they do the most
Yes, they do the
in
most.
our system.
And
They
they
do
use
the
them.
most without the most payment.
And you know what?
The people with the certificate now,
They do less
They-
for more money.
you get
And
so
they
that
get
is
their
why
applause.
everybody now wants to just get the certificate
Yes.
because it's injustice that
you-
I do the most work and I'm paid less, and then because this person has certificate he cannot or he's
Do you
not
also
even doing
notice
there's
people
no
like that?
appreciation.
People like that, they clamor for their growth. When people are being promoted, they clamor for it more than their knowledge.
Yes.
Because they are always look at our mates in that department. They are now at level this. We are still here. But they forget that these people don't have brains. They just did something and they are promoted. And you are gaining knowledge. And it's not to say don't look for what rightly belongs to you. But don't make it the reason why you are there. Because if it doesn't come, the frustration that will come to you
It's
is second
terrible.
to none.
You see what happens then is that these people accept the applauds that is supposed to go to person who has Sabificate. And it's really irritating. Like sometimes you begin to wonder, how do you continue to stand your head held high when you know that what you are presenting, you have no backing to
Who
it
cares?
because you did
Do they
nothing
care?
about
Who cares?
it.
It's to get the pay. You are the one that is more concerned about that. Me, I think people, when you want to even go to the school, like when you desire to improve or add your, like the desire should be born out of growth. Like I want to know, like how can I add up? How do I know more to solve this problem? Like that should be the push. It should be about growth. It shouldn't be about, okay, let me just go get it since this is our system. Even though we can't take that away. A lot of people just find themselves there because they feel that, oh, I'm not being treated rightly in my organization or in my office. Look at how I do the most and I'm paid less. So let me just go get the certificate since this is what the system desire. But we go nowhere with this. If emphasis continue to be on certificate and then neglecting the Sabificate, then at the end of the day, we just have all of us will get the paper, because right now it's so easy to acquire the paper. That is why you see everybody just gets it. And what can you do? Anything that is available. Why? Because when they went to the school, it wasn't about acquiring knowledge to be able to solve problem, but to get it so that they can get that access to that job and be paid high. So imagine a system where everybody just goes for the certificate, neglecting acquiring skill to solve problem. How will the nation be like? No wonder we are where we are today. Because at the end of the day, even the employment, how do we do it? Like based on nepotism. Who knows who? You neglect the people that know the work, and then you go for who you are related with that cannot do the work. You employ them, you put them in the system and go and buy certificate for them. So how do you expect that organization to grow or even solve problem that at the end of the day the nation will grow? We just keep lamenting. Look at the poverty rate. Other nations take advantage of their population. They invest in human capital development, and you see them solving problems, even helping other nations. But look at us.
And you know that these other nations, this is one thing they did. They had to let go of excess luggage. And when I say excess luggage, I mean those that are there in positions and doing nothing. They had to let go of these people. There was a country that I read about, and I've watched a few documentaries about them. And this is what they did. They literally just let go of all those things. And although they were getting backlash from the citizens, but over time, the citizens began to appreciate what the government was doing when it let go of all those people that were just working for no that you have not worked for the position. You don't have a result for the position that you are in. There's no impact felt from you. So they let go of those people, and at the end of the day, the country is blooming, is blossoming.
Yeah. Let this question take us home. I need 5 things that are commonly used in Nigeria. 5 things that are commonly used.
Like products.
Yes, 5 things that are like people cannot do without.
Clothes.
1.
Phone.
2.
Food.
3.
Shoes.
4.
Money.
let's remove shoes. Okay. Clothes are still with shoes.
Take that.
So 3. Money is not there.
Utensils.
Oh really?
Clothes, food, something you say. Phone.
And there's a long silence.
People commonly use or patronize hair.
Hair, yes.
Still under clothes.
Yes.
The building material.
Building, construction.
Yes.
Petroleum. Petrol, not petroleum.
Okay, let's even consider petroleum. Let's say, okay, the first thing was what? Clothes. How do we get clothes? Who are the people who make clothes the most? Do we learn that in school? what you're wearing was made by someone, right? And if you see in Nigeria these days, we mostly buy materials and make, rather than going to pick a ready-made clothes, right? Someone sat, and in most cases, people didn't go to school to study how to do these things.
No.
But they employ marketers who went to school to do marketing strategy for them and all of that. What's the second thing? You said phone. Phone are made by people, like most of the phones that we use in Nigeria, they are not used in the countries where we buy them from.
Yeah.
I don't want to mention countries. So it's people that are not as educated who make these phones. Right? Now, you use money on the phone more than you use the phone. Because without the money, the phone is... So where do you get this recharge card and all of these things? It's people who... with Sabificate. Right? So we just look at fashion. Sabificate. Phone recharge, and even the making of the phones. People that are brilliant just design the phones. And then they bring it to people with Sabificate to manufacture it. And then they take it to a particular country for cheap labor to do plenty. And then they bring it to many countries, right? The third thing was, you said something. Food. How many times have you seen a company, like a very big company, telling you that they are farmers? You have few of them. Most of the people who are into farming are people with Sabificate. I grew up seeing my mother farming, seeing my father farming, seeing my uncles. So I learned farming from them. I have Sabid and I'm Sabified. So now I have become an employer of labor, because if I have hectares, I need to bring people to farm for me, sell the produce, save the money for manure, save the money for for labor, and then save the money to do all the pest controls and all of that. Sabificate. The fourth one was what? Building materials. If you go commonly, it's only the cement that is manufactured by people that are Sabified. But people who design, who bring the chemicals, what to mix to get the cement, are people who learned from school. So they just send you on paper what you need. The mixture of this is this percentage, this percentage, this percentage. When you put it together, put it into this thing. But once you go, mostly the people that even bring the cement to us are people that have never been. If you see these truck drivers, you know that most of them are illiterate. Go to the building materials. If you the market, if you spend 1 million naira buying goods, if you come, you have to employ people, Sabificate, to do the building for you. The fifth one was what?
We didn't even mention like
petroleum.
Vehicles and
Yes. So look at petroleum. Is petroleum important or useful without people who did not go to school, doing driving, doing all of this, and even the gas attendant pumping the gas in your car? There are people that you know, even secondary school, maybe some of them have not even finished. So who is really ruling the economy of this country?
Certificates.
But you know what? Like you rightly said earlier, you need people with a certificate to be able to bring out the chart or the ideas that you need to follow. Even the common men. There was a time I was doing a building, and an architect did the design for me. So I brought it. It was the common laborers that were explaining to the site engineer, no, this one, if you put 6 here, you do not give you. We actually put it, and he didn't give us. He said, you see? So the next day we had to come back and demolish that part, and then do what the guy said. And then we got it, because they are practitioners regularly on a daily basis. They are practitioners. What makes you angry the most about certificate or Sabificate and Sabificate?
Oh well, how those with the certificate, with just the certificate, accepts applauds that belong to those who have the certificate.
What annoys me is the fact that those with the certificate feel that they can rule the world, but in reality they know nothing, little or nothing. But then Sabificate is practical, because every day you keep practicing and you become better at it.
Well, what annoys me about certificate is the too much value that is being placed on it. I think that annoys me, when you place all the emphasis on it and neglecting the Sabificate, or when you see somebody with certificate without the ability to put it to practice, like in terms of solving real life situations or challenges.
Basically, on the show, we've just been able to highlight the fact that the day that you graduate and get the certificate marks the end of being in school, but it marks the beginning of starting another fresh page of learning, because you have to learn to be on top of the world. You have to learn to be on top of your game. You have to learn to provide solutions to those who come looking for it. Sabificate, certificate. What would you rather have? Thank you, Equa Executive, for giving us opportunity to do this on air. Thank you, Joyce Jakada. Thank you, Jemima. Thank you, Prudence. My name is Tony J. Nakali. Cast crew, everybody, we're grateful. Thank you for watching Equa Television. We're grateful. See you tomorrow. Please don't forget to be kind to one another. It's still 11 a.m. tomorrow. We'll see you as we come discuss social media tomorrow. See you then. Bye.